Read all the stories about BYU sports no one else has heard. Go to KSLSports.com for exclusive columns by BYU insider Mitch Harper. That's KSLSports.com.
Yeah, check out all of the BYU content and Big 12 content on the KSL Sports app and KSLSports.com. We got you covered. All the different platforms, News Radio, KSL Sports Zone, KSLSports.com. So many different ways to consume our content, whether it's Big 12, Utah, BYU. We've got you covered with content. Mitch Harper, Alex Kirry with you. And I was looking at Pro Football Focus's numbers, and it's kind of interesting, these advanced stats, how I don't know how Pro Football Focus got basically dubbed just the end-all be-all of like grading plays, but it's basically a snapshot into how effective players are snap after snap. And in a league like the Big 12 that prides itself this year on its QBs, dubbing it the quarterback club, who would you say, Alex, who do you think through 3 weeks of the season, I guess 4 if you factor in week 0 too, who's the highest rated quarterback in the Big 12 that prides itself on its QBs at this point of the season?
I'd say maybe a Sawyer Robertson or a Josh Hoover.
Josh Hoover's near the top. He's number 2. Number 1 is Cincinnati's Brendan Sorsby.
Sorsby's had some big numbers. I get it.
Do you buy that, though? Could that carry over throughout the entire year?
I don't know if it can carry over the way that it has so far across Big 12 play, but I will say you can't fake like 70 points against anybody. Like, I don't care if people go, yeah, but Northwestern State's a terrible FCS team. It's like, yeah, and guess what? You should be clicking on all cylinders and throwing a bunch of touchdowns against teams. And throwing 5 touchdowns in a quarter as a Big 12 record, by the way, like that's got to be a big boost for a kid who is probably drowned out by a lot of the noise of the other quarterbacks in your conference. Everybody else is talking about Sawyer Robertson, Josh Hoover, Devin Dampier. Even you think about Baron Morton at Texas Tech, like he's getting more talk, obviously, than Brendan Sorsby is. We liked Brendan Sorsby before the season, but we were like, yeah, but Cincinnati's not going to be that good.
I just don't trust Satterfield. Like, that's my only hang-up. I don't trust Satterfield late in a game.
And I don't know if Satterfield's going to be there long term in Cincinnati. But Brendan Sorsby's a great quarterback. I don't know if he's tops in the league, but I will say you can have success and you can shock a team in this conference with a team like Cincinnati, who people aren't really expecting much out of. But Brendan Sorsby will come in there and smack you in the mouth.
92.1 offensive grade from Pro Football Focus. Brendan Sorsby. How about this? We're talking if Sorsby can continue that success in Big 12 play through 3 weeks. What's some maybe way too early knee-jerk reactions that you're having to this conference now that we're starting to get a feel for what these teams actually are?
Colorado's bad. Colorado's going to be bad again. They're going to be at the bottom of the conference, I think, by the end of everything. They're going to be in the bottom 3 or 4. Kansas State is bad. Like, when your head coach is going, I actually don't know who we are anymore, that's not a good sign. And the shock about that is that it's Kansas State, who's one of the most consistent programs. Colorado having a year that they had last year and then going back to maybe being 4-8 again this season, that shouldn't be a shock because this program has had these types of seasons more often than they've had the type of year that they had last year. So you lose a Heisman Trophy winner, you lose an All-American quarterback. Those are not replaceable people immediately, maybe ever. And so Colorado's going to be bad. Kansas State's going to be bad. I think Houston is an 8-win team at least in this league, right? I think they're going to win 8 games. They're going to be in a decent bowl this year, and Willie Fritz is going to be the talk of the town, and they're going to sell more season tickets, and they're going to get people interested in football. This is a basketball school, no doubt about it, but there's no reason that it shouldn't be a football school. If Houston plays this thing right, they could be up there with some. Look, they're trying to do what Texas Tech is doing, and they should be able to do the exact same thing. That is one of the best recruiting beds in the entire country, and they should win a lot of those battles.
Here's my early knee-jerk reaction in the league. There's a path potentially to 3 teams in the playoff.
Hey, now, that's and part of that path, I don't disagree with you. Part of that path is Notre Dame losing their first 2 games.
Yes.
Part of that path is Clemson looking like garbage.
Yes.
So you only get one ACC team in, which, frankly, you probably only deserve right now. I know Florida State's looking strong. I know Georgia Tech's looking strong. They will not look strong by the end of it, I don't think. And I think that there's only room for I think there's only room for one team out of those 3 that's going to be actually really, really good.
And I think a lot of it rests on this weekend. Utah, Texas Tech. I do think that both those teams, it's going to carry the success throughout the season. Whoever comes out on top, it could be an Arlington rematch. It could. But I think a lot of the success ties to those 2 teams. and then a grouping of Iowa State, TCU, BYU, Arizona State, maybe Baylor because their strength of schedule and non-conference. Like, there could be 7 teams potentially that are in that playoff talk entering November. But I think there's a path to maybe 3 playoff teams in this league. Just the way that the landscape of the sport is playing out this year. I know that it's kind of shocking and jarring to see, 11, 12 teams from the SEC in the AP poll. But remember, the playoff, it's different rankings. That I think they're influenced, sure, but it's a different set of rankings. I think there's a path to maybe 3 teams in this league reaching the playoff, which would be incredible for this conference if they could get that done.
If they do get 3 in, how does that work? Because you've got to have an almost undefeated, if not undefeated team. That's where it kind of has to start.
You probably need the winner of this Utah-Texas Tech game. Again, a lot's going to rest on these 2. Utah-Texas Tech, because it's so early in the season that you can overcome a loss, and it's got to be a close loss probably. Maybe Utah-Texas Tech, say Texas Tech loses to Utah. They go 11-1, but they're left outside of Arlington. 12-0 Utah takes on 12-0 TCU, potentially in Arlington. Or maybe 11-1 TCU. Their only losses to Texas Tech, something like that.
But they lose on a
there's got to be
a tie break. There've got to be 3 teams that are at least one maybe undefeated,
yes,
or the other 2 have 1 loss only.
That to me is the path.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that undefeated team and a 1-loss team square up in Arlington. Then that 1-loss team wins the Big 12 title. A lot of hurdles, sure, but I just think that some of the resumes are coming together, and what's happening around the sport could create the potential chaos that creates maybe a path for 3 teams in this league.
I will say this. That is a tall order.
Oh, yeah.
It's for a conference that has only had 1 in, and it looks dicey. I mean, the reality is I watched, I don't know if I sent it to you guys, but I watched some guy make an argument for 2 American teams getting in, Tulane and, who was
USF?
the other one? And USF.
Yep.
Now, USF lost to
Miami, but that's not a bad loss.
But the point that they put out there was they'll at least come out of there with maybe a loss to a Miami team who might end up being a top 3 or 4 team. And then you have Tulane, who already passed their tests against 2 Power 4 programs in Duke and in Northwestern, both of which they rolled. How about Drake Retzlaff running for 4 touchdowns this last weekend? Not throwing for any, by the way, just running for 4 of them. But Tulane is looking very scary. 2 American teams, and let's say that they get 2 in, and the ACC only gets 1 team in, or the SEC only gets 2 in also. Could you imagine?
Oh, man.
It'll never happen again. They're like, we're going to have a 35-team playoff, so every team in the SEC gets in from here on out.
The issue with the path to 3 teams from the Big 12 is that you've got to have consistency. We've been doing this show a while now. It feels like every week we feel like we've learned everything we need to know about these teams in the league. They have some performance that goes, what?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
Cincinnati beats TCU 38-14, and then you go, okay, I guess we didn't know anything about this league.
The power rankings are going to be completely torn down
Sawyer
again.
Robertson throws for 91 yards and 4 picks, and then we go, I guess he wasn't that good of a quarterback.
So stability in this league, tall order. But if it does happen and these teams start to play like we continue to think that we are kind of learning about these groups, the Utah, the Techs, Iowa States, maybe it could happen.
I love it. I love the idea of some chaos, though. I mean, at the very least, what we're talking about is the unexpected with this league, and I think that Brett Yormark, he doesn't care who does it as long as somebody's winning and showing other people how to get it done and doing a good job. Like that's really where it counts. And so this is a league that needs that type of they need to catch up there. Let's take another break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner as we get you ready for the rest of your weekend of Big 12 play. It's 1st and 12. Alex, Kirry, Mitch, Harper. We'll see you around the corner.